The night air was cold, and the neon lights of the city flickered like distant stars reflected on the wet pavement. A barefoot boy, no older than 16, stood by the backstage door of the grand auditorium. His name was Arjun, and everything he owned was packed inside a worn-out guitar case, a cracked instrument, missing one string, yet full of stories. So for most people, it was just another night of entertainment, the semi-finals of The Rising Voice, the nation's biggest singing competition. But for Arjun, this was survival. He hadn't come for fame. He hadn't come for glory. He came because it was the only way left to find his mother. Arjun grew up in a narrow alley behind an old tea stall, where his mother, Saira, worked long hours washing dishes. His father had disappeared when Arjun was 6, leaving behind only a broken guitar. His most precious memory of the man who used to sing him to sleep. Life had been harsh, but Saira's smile made everything bearable. She'd hum softly while washing plates, singing Hotel California, her favorite song. Someday, Arjun, she'd say, you'll sing this song on a big stage, and I'll be right there, clapping the loudest. But fate is cruel. 3 years ago, she fell gravely ill. Without money for treatment, she was taken away by hospital workers to a government ward. When Arjun tried to find her days later, she was gone. No one could tell him where. Since then, he had wandered city to city, singing on buses, in markets, under bridges, anywhere someone might toss him a coin. Every rupee went into searching for her, and now, this show, this one chance, was his last hope. Backstage, the other contestants eyed him curiously. His shirt was faded, his hair messy, his shoes mismatched. The stage manager frowned. You're the street kid, right? You sure you're supposed to be here? Arjun nodded silently, clutching his guitar like a lifeline. When his turn came, the bright lights blinded him. The crowd murmured, half curious, half doubtful. The judges, 3 famous musicians, exchanged glances. Name? Asked Judge Mira, tapping her pen. Arjun, he whispered. Arjun Saira. The audience barely noticed him. After all, he was just a poor boy with a broken guitar. But when the first notes of Hotel California filled the hall, something shifted. His voice was raw, imperfect, trembling at first, but then, like a tide rising with emotion, it grew. The pain in his voice was real, born of nights sleeping hungry, of calling out for a mother who never answered. Every lyric seemed to tear open a piece of his heart. On a dark desert highway, cool wind in my hair. The judges leaned forward. The crowd went silent. The boy wasn't just singing, he was living the song. His fingers moved with tenderness on the strings, caressing each note as though it carried his mother's memory. And then, as the bridge hit, you can check out any time you like, but you can never leave. Tears glistened in his eyes. The guitarist backstage stopped breathing. The lighting crew froze when he sang the final line, Welcome to the Hotel California. His voice broke, just enough to make every person in the hall feel it. Silence followed. A silence so deep you could hear the soft hum of the stage lights, then a standing ovation. The judges were speechless. Mira covered her mouth, tears in her eyes. Judge Dev whispered, that wasn't performance. That was truth. The cameras zoomed in on Arjun's trembling hands. He bowed, clutching his guitar, ready to leave, but then Mira spoke. Wait, Arjun, you said your name was Arjun Saira? He nodded. She frowned, flipping through her notes. There's something I need to check. Backstage, chaos erupted. Producers rushed around, phones in hand. Mira disappeared for several minutes, leaving the other judges confused. The audience buzzed, sensing something unusual. When she returned, she was holding a piece of paper. Trembling. Arjun, she said softly, you said your mother's name was Saira? Yes, he whispered, eyes wide. She worked at a hospital in Delhi once, didn't she? Arjun nodded again. Mira's eyes filled with tears. Arjun. I knew your mother. The boy froze. She used to sing while cleaning the backstage of this very show, years ago. I always remembered her voice. She told me about you. She said, my son will sing Hotel California someday, and when he does, he'll make the world cry. Arjun's knees buckled. The crowd gasped, and Arjun, Mira continued, voice breaking, I have more news. Your mother, she's alive. She's been living in a women's shelter in Mumbai. She's been looking for you. The boy fell to his knees. Tears streamed down his face. The crowd stood, clapping and crying at once. Moments later, the producers brought a frail woman to the stage wrapped in a shawl, eyes filled with disbelief. Arjun, she whispered. He turned, and time stopped. He dropped his guitar, running into her arms, sobbing uncontrollably. The audience roared with emotion. Even the judges couldn't hold back their tears. It wasn't just a reunion. It was a resurrection of hope that night. The video of his performance went viral. The internet called it the song that found a mother. Millions watched as the poor boy with a broken guitar sang his way back to love. Arjun didn't just win the competition, he won hearts across the world. Offers came pouring in, but he didn't care about fame. He only cared about one thing: singing beside his mother again. Months later, during the finale, the lights dimmed once more. The audience waited in silence as two figures walked on stage, Arjun and Saira, holding hands together. They sang Hotel California, the song that once broke their hearts but now mended them. The judges didn't even try to hide their tears, and as the last note faded into the night, Arjun looked at the camera, smiling through tears. "This one's for everyone who's ever lost someone they love," he said. "Never stop singing, because someday, your song will bring them back."